The great John Elway of the Denver Broncos, his greatness past book has been stamped on every page but Super Bowl.
Throughout the 80s, we remember him as the guy who got embarrassed in Super Bowls.
Elway takes the snap and runs it in for a touchdown. Thanks to Elway's patented last-second magic, the final score of Super Bowl 30, Denver 7, San Francisco 56.
You're supposed to win, have 4 of these things by now.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, you're suffering the most lopsided Super Bowl losses, and they're progressively getting worse and worse.
Safety, George Martin. Pass picked off by Elvis Patterson.
When you're down 26-10, you have to start making things happen. You have to force things.
Elway stepping up, throwing only to Wilburn as he makes the interception at the 40-yard line.
I think that makes John 3 for 3. I think on his last 3 possessions, he's thrown 3 interceptions.
Montana looking to Randall, hits Rice. Rice scores for San Francisco. Going deep for Taylor, another touchdown.
Now they're getting to be known as the Minnesota Vikings of the 80s. The Vikings never won a Super Bowl, although they went 4 times. Now the Broncos 0 for 3 in Super Bowl, Steve.
Well, this is indeed D-Day for the Broncos, and that means disaster, debacle, and defeat.
The strange part, this wasn't the John Elway people feared.
Greatness is something you can feel and you can see. And nobody had to tell me John Elway was great. But just being around him, you can sense how powerful it was.
There was never a game that I went into where I didn't think John could pull it out in the fourth quarter.
Before the Super Bowl blowouts, John Elway had built his legend as the quarterback who could win a game no matter how bad it looked.
John Elway has had 47 comebacks. Why is it that all you guys ask about is the drive?
And with 5 minutes, 43 seconds left, Cleveland leads by 7. Mosley's kickoff, it's a floater that hits at the 15, skips inside the 5. It's all the way back in the 2. Elway in the end zone and throwing it. It's complete. Winder dives out to the 7-yard line. Picks up a little operating room there.
People forget the key play right there was the first play, because now you're not backed up in your end zone. You've got some room to operate.
Complete. So on 3rd and 18, Elway is able to drill a 25-yard pass to rookie Mark Jackson. And the drive and the hopes of Denver still alive. 42 seconds to go. Broncos at the Cleveland 5. 3rd down and a yard. The snap to Elway. The look, the throw. Touchdown! And anybody who thought that Mr. Elway was overrated as a quarterback had better think again.
That was probably, other than the Super Bowl, was the biggest game of my life. To have the drive and be able to do that and get the win in overtime really kind of put me on the map.
The drive allowed him to be celebrated. But let's be real. He was going to have to win a Super Bowl to be coronated.
But with 3 Super Bowl losses in 4 years, something was broken.
There's been criticism of the fact that the Bronco team is built around one man, and that's John Elway.
With Dan, we're a little bit more conservative and, run the ball and throw it when we needed to. But
Dan felt like there was a way to win football games. That old school, run the football, play tough defense, not make mistakes.
I remember Reeves saying early on, I don't want to be known as the guy who ruins Elway, but he pretty well set out to try and accomplish that at times.
My relationship with Dan, it was choppy, to say the least. I was frustrated with the offense, what we're doing.
The difference that we had was I never felt like we were attacking on the offensive side. We weren't going out there to win football games. We were going out there to make sure we didn't lose the game.
The relationship between them became strained enough that the Denver Broncos had a deal to send John Elway to the Washington Redskins.
Skins discussed trade for Elway. Joe Gibbs confirmed Thursday he was engaged by Denver coach Dan Reeves in talks of a potential blockbuster trade for Broncos quarterback John Elway.
Eventually, owner Pat Bowlen was forced to decide between Dan Reeves or John Elway.
So it's my great pleasure to introduce the new head coach of the Denver Broncos, Mike Shanahan.
John recognized that Mike wanted to make John the best quarterback possible and to use John's skill set. That was the rub with Dan Reeves, that Dan wanted things done his way in his system, regardless of the personnel, whereas Mike recognized John's unique talents and played to those skill sets.
There was nobody more thrilled when Mr. Bolin hired Mike to come back as a head coach, because I knew he's just coming off a Super Bowl win, been in San Francisco for 3 years, had great success there. Was so excited that I really felt like we had a chance to go back to, and compete for Super Bowls again.
I've got a lot of confidence in him, and he's a great young football coach and a guy that I get along with and really enjoy working with, and therefore he makes me a better football player. And I think that that's the key thing, is that I play better when he's here.
His knowledge of the offensive game was tremendous, and where he was back then, the West Coast offense, because when he left Denver, he went to San Francisco, learned the West Coast, and then when he came back to Denver with Alex Gibbs, who was our offensive line coach, they put the zone running game in with the West Coast, and then the combination, and then Mike just kind of grew it from there.
The running game in the Shanahan offense it's beautiful to watch.
I think the key addition for us was Terrell Davis. And Terrell was probably the guy that really kind of helped us turn the whole thing around.
For the last 15 years, this offense has relied on one man, John Elway. Year in and year out, game in and game out, he's had to carry the load on his shoulders. But things have changed. The cavalry has arrived. Enter one Terrell Davis, the most complete back in the NFL.
Yeah, if you look before he came here, they were doing 92 yards a game rushing, and that ranked 23rd. And after he got here, he's been here 3 years. But look, they've averaged 125, 148, 162. They go up every year. They were 5th, 1st, and 1st.
Terrell Davis is the best running back in the league right now.
Throws underneath to Davis. What a move by Terrell Davis. Touchdown. And Terrell Davis does it all.
He'll lead the way for Davis. And Davis in a big hole. Terrell Davis off to the races. Inside the 30. Finally dragged down at the 13-yard line. And Terrell again for at least 19 and more than that. Inside the 10, touchdown Denver.
John probably doesn't even have to throw the ball no more than 15 times a game. So just his presence out there would back people up off the running game. I mean, they have to respect his arm and still respect John as a player.
This is why this Bronco offense kills you. You got a great runner in Terrell Davis. Well, they got John Elway. They said, well, we got to stop John Elway, and they hand it to Terrell Davis. So you really are in a bind defensively.
By 1996, the final pieces had been put together.
What is the weakness in this Denver team? Nothing. I mean, really, in all honesty, they have no weakness. That's why they're a serious contender for the Super Bowl.
We had a really good team. We had the #1 seed wrapped up. We were playing Jacksonville. Jacksonville was coming to Denver, and that we thought, that was the year I'm going, we got a chance to win this.
We were in 1996. We had won 13 games, and we had essentially clinched the first round bye at like the early part of December. And we had to throttle back because we didn't want to continue to play hard and get people hurt. So we were just out there playing, which hurt us a little bit.
Only one time have the Broncos stumbled in the playoffs here at home, and they need a team, Jacksonville, that has not lost a game since mid-November. Toss to Terrell Davis. And he makes his first statement. Davis is clear to the 10, out of bounds, inside the 5. Touchdown, Shannon Sharp. And that ball was a rocket. That was a perfect throw. This opening 15 minutes has been all on the side of the Denver Broncos.
They were 12-point favorites, and they had a really good team. The Broncos were a very, very good team. And they jumped off to a quick start. They were at 12-0 in that game, and it just seemed like, okay, this is going to go just fine, and we're going to be on to somebody else. And then little things happen, little mistakes.
We're now under heavy trouble, and it's intercepted. Corey James. And James may have been guilty of a foul.
It's a terrible call. It would only be a penalty if he stopped the wide receiver from getting to the ball. He didn't impede the progress of the wide receiver. He just reacted better to the football and it was slow.
I think I'll go to my grave believing that Corey James did not interfere with that guy.
Steps away from the tackle and Leeds will score. And Jacksonville is back in the game. Slips, scrambles, throws downfield. Wide open is Jimmy Smith. Jacksonville 14, Denver 12.
Repeat that, Paul. A lot of people wouldn't believe that if they were just going to know.
They're at home, they're expected to win, and they're not. So what does that do to their confidence when they come back out after the half?
Shanahan, worried look on his face. And after Denver started with 186 yards in the opening 143 yards in the opening quarter, had only 45 yards and 2 first downs in the entire second period. The Jaguars building momentum here with a 2012 lead against a 2-touchdown favorite on its home field, Denver.
Maybe the critical call of the game, which was, it was 3rd and 5, I think, from the 16-yard line. And I could easily have said, hey, let's just run the ball, put it in perfect position, kick a field goal, it'll put us up 26-20. But it had just happened to me against that team and against that quarterback. I said, that's not going to get it done, so we decided to throw.
3rd and a huge 5. Going out on the fade. Touchdown to Jimmy Smith. The Jacksonville Jaguars have upset Denver 30-27.
I think that was the most devastating loss other than the Super Bowl losses. And then at that point in time, you start wondering, well, what's it going to take? And I know, at that point in time, I was 36 years old. And so I was running out of time.
Losing to the Jaguars, that just sharpened that sword so that when they came out regular season in 97, they were crushing fools because they knew what they'd missed out on.
I think that loss was necessary for us to feel that pain, to feel how it felt to be embarrassed and to be disappointed like that.
Motivated by the loss, the Broncos entered the 1997 season with renewed focus, and that carried John Elway to his 4th Super Bowl.
And I called my mom. I said, Mom, can you believe we get a chance to go back and be world champions again? And there's a long pause. And she finally says, do we really have to go back to the Super Bowl again?
Brett Favre, the league's best player, against the sentimental favorite, John Elway, trying to undo those 3 previous Super Bowl experiences that ended in defeat.
I think there's a great deal of pressure on him, Brett, to get the monkey off his back, so to speak, before he'll be recognized as one of the great ones.
Because I wanted to fight those negatives. I wanted to prove everybody wrong. I didn't take them personally. It added more incentive for me. That kept me going, and that's what I am gonna prove everybody wrong in this deal.
I can remember sitting in my room the whole week before and just praying, God, and not all I asked for was, God, just give me a chance to win this late in the game.
The offense now ran through Terrell Davis, but this was John Elway's game. All he needed was one play to prove it.
It's they're down 6.5, and we're on the 12-yard line. And we're going against one of the best red zone defenses in the National Football League. John is going to go crazy when I call this play. Well, I said, I've got to do it.
Okay, point slice. We'd run that play all week in practice. And I told Mike Shanahan and Gary Kubiak, because he was the offensive coordinator, and I'm like, it was set up for a certain defense. And I really didn't like the play in practice, but we kept running it. And I kept telling Mike, I really don't like that play. And finally came to me and said, John, against this formation, in this situation, it's 100% we're going to get this coverage. Sure enough, we walk out and it's not that coverage. So I know I've got nothing. So I just really kind of dropped back and tried to find a seam, get outside, try to make a play.
Simultaneously sandwich and cartwheel Elway. It's 1st and goal.
That play gave the Broncos a jolt of energy. They wouldn't trail for the remainder of the game.
The completion of a great career, a Super Bowl championship for John Elway.
They did it on the ground with the most valuable player, Terrell Davis, and they did it for their quarterback, John Elway.
There's only 4 words. This one's for John.
John Elway would win another Super Bowl in 1998 and then retire. You couldn't write the ending any better.
All the Super Bowls he fell short, this is the one that counts, baby.
The greatest win I ever had by far. The fact that it erased some of those other things.
You don't really enjoy success until you've had failure. And the thing that I respect most about a guy is a guy that can rebound from failure. In the end, is going to be at the top is the guy that doesn't quit, that can put that failure behind him and not look for excuses for those failures, but look to the future and look and stay positive and look for good things to happen, and they will.